Welcome back to the Basic Bee podcast. I'm your host and favorite SEO strategist, Brittany Herzberg. Today, I'm joined by my friend, client, and a member of what I'm calling my healing team, Amy Babish. We're going to be talking about healing through entrepreneurship, which, yes, is a loaded topic because entrepreneurship is actually this healing journey that we've signed up for, whether we knew it at the time or not. It brings things up that we're meant to work through and clear, and Amy has helped me discover one really powerful way to do just that. Plus, this gives me an amazing opportunity to shout out one of my clients, and you know I can't turn that down. Amy Babish works with people who have tried everything and still feel stuck in their health, their relationships, or the impact they know they're meant to have. Drawing on over 20 years of experience, she works at the intersection of ancestral patterns, soul-level assignments, the body, and even the home and land they live on. Amy has guided visionaries, executives, founders, and high-impact leaders to release what was never theirs to carry and step into greater clarity, connection, and freedom. She's also the host of the Soulful Visionary podcast, so definitely go check that out. Just one more little bit of context before we dive in. By now, you know I'm strategic, but I'm also very spiritual. I'm of the woo variety, and my entrepreneurial journey has had so many interesting and challenging, let's call them opportunities, come up from living out my worst nightmare to having extremely low income months. One of the people who's been incredibly helpful to me this year as I've navigated my way through those twisty and tough scenarios is Amy. And Amy, I'm so excited to have you on.
I am so excited to be here. I have full body chills and yes.
We're in the right place at the right time.
We are.
I love it. So to give people some context before we get into wherever we're going to go, I've heard you mention, and one of the things you talk about, and one of the things I've worked with you through is constellation work. And then you have another segment of services that you offer that's called house therapy. Could you tell us a bit about those two and any of the other things that you want to touch on?
Yes, I'm happy to give you kind of the cliff notes. So many times people who come to entrepreneurship who are very plugged into social media or podcast are in the realms of either belief work or somatic work or nervous system work. And so those are really, really helpful. EMDR is helpful. All the things are helpful. I work with people where literally they have tried everything. They've thrown spaghetti at the wall and they're like, fuck. Like other parts of my life are like easy peasy. So constellation work is a place to work with your blood ancestors, known or unknown. So I work with a lot of people who are adopted. So you don't have to know their names. You don't have to know your family tree. And I also work with people's soul lineage. I never tell clients what to believe, nor your listeners. Many people who are plugged into your world who might be woo, as you would say. And woo actually comes from Taoism. Woo is the word for shamanism in Taoism. And if you could imagine like a wall, and on one side, there's a human who then walks through the wall to the other side. That is the Chinese character for woo. So a woo is a shaman. And so many people don't know that context, but I also am house therapy comes from Taoism. So I'm going back to, I work with people around their blood and soul lineages, which some people might call past lives, some people might call soul fractals. I am a starseed. I work with light workers. I work with starseeds. I work with all of the garden variety of humans that there might be. And my superpower is getting to the root of things very quickly. So sometimes it is in your lineages. Sometimes it is in your home. So feng shui is one of the modalities of Taoism. And there are different schools of feng shui, just like there's different schools of psychotherapy or coaching. And I practice BTB feng shui, which is focused on the Western world, specifically North America. But you can use BTB in other places, but it's the modern practice of feng shui. I help people to understand that kind of like if you imagine if you're a tea drinker, the herbs of your house, which are your furniture, the architecture of your home, what's outside of your home, your front door, those are the herbs. And if you don't know that the herbs are a little bit funky or stale, or maybe not good for you, or maybe not good for your home or land, and you've been doing all of the personal work known to humanity, and you're like, why doesn't it stay? It's sometimes because the herbs that you're steeping in every day in your home and when you sleep need to be updated. And so I basically will help you to understand the energetic flow of your home, which then comes into your mind, body, spirit, and your business, and help you to reorganize it and rearrange it to be in the flow of what is most supportive for you, your goals, your intentions, the flow of cash, all those things.
Yeah.
And I also am a Taoist stonalist, which means I work with stones and crystals, not just crystals. And for those of you who know about stones or crystals, when we come to Taoism, Taoist stonalism predates acupuncture. And so the first acupuncture needles were obsidian needles. So the Taoist stonalist introduced acupuncture. So I can work in person or remotely with stones like river stones, boulder stones, volcanic stones, or crystals that are ethically sourced to also support things like soul retrieval or how to clear things that might be really funky that you were born with, that you've never not had, or things such as after a traumatic incident or a health challenge like cancer or something like getting a tick and Lyme's disease. Taoist stonalism gets to the heart of things also in a different way. So I have many, many tools. And I was a psychotherapist, a trauma expert for over 20 years before I started to come out as the woo that I am.
Exactly. That's amazing. I love it. Like all the little tidbits, like I didn't even know where woo originated. I didn't know about obsidian needles, like all this kind of stuff. If you're listening and you're like, oh my God, because this is what I do. I'm like, what? I will be. So I will be listening to Amy's podcast so that I can write the show notes and do all the keyword research and all of that. And half the time I'm like, Amy, oh my gosh, you didn't know this thing. Oh my gosh, like you should see, I have so many notes from just like where I geek out over that stuff. So if you are listening and hearing Amy describe these different things and you're geeking out like I am, you definitely have to go check out her podcast.
I would love that. And just so listeners know, my podcast, guests receive a session from me. And so sometimes the guests use their name and sometimes it's anonymous, but I treat it as if it is a private session. And Brittany has done a number of those with me on the podcast and off the podcast. And so we weave between all different kinds of things in my world.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And it is. I mean, I can definitely vouch for the fact that it's a legit client session. I mean, you're not showing anything. I think it was even someone that you had recently, maybe for one of the 3 sessions, where she was saying that she really appreciated that it was like the real raw experience. And she was like, I listened back to it and it was the same thing. And I'm like, yeah, it's amazing.
It's the real deal.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. And one thing I know I share with people whenever I'm talking about you in the nicest way to try to like refer people to you or just help them when they have tried everything, because it can be a very hopeless place to be, is that you deal with some stuff that's very intense right off the bat. So I don't know if you want to speak to that or...
Yeah. So I think some people experience the overwhelm of nothing's working. Like a lot of people around one thing, or sometimes it's a cluster of 1 to 3 things. But since we're talking about business and entrepreneurship here, sometimes we think concretely, oh, money's not coming in the way I want it to come, or it comes erratically, or the aligned clients or ideal clients are kind of coming in sideways, or no matter what I do, I have this kind of experience when I run a group or when I do a launch. There's oftentimes very specific ways that people are consciously seeing it's not working. Or it's not flowing the way I want it to, or the way that I know it does for other people. So when I work with someone, everything is based on intention. So you could come with your very concrete intention of, I'd like to make at least $20,000 a month, or I'd like to move from group work to individuals, or whatever you're wanting. I'm not here to tell you what to want. And then we get into what's in the way. And so you have that first layer of what's in the way, which is very concrete. But then I really am very thorough. So I do what we call, if you're my age, I'm 47, there was the show House with differential diagnosis, which is like he takes everything, nothing is omitted. That's the way I work. Nothing is omitted. And I'm not diagnosing you. I am helping to understand what is entangled or connected or kind of in a knot in your systemic field. In your systemic field is not just you and your intentions or what looks like it's not working. It is everything that you carry, not just epigenetically with DNA, but spiritually, energetically, environmentally, that is adding to the mix of what's here. And so some of the things that I work on are anything from people who've had stillborns to late-term abortion to not being able to get pregnant. These are all baby things. I'm kind of going through the baby portal first.
Well, I'm not surprised that you're bringing this up with me because we did touch on this quite a bit.
Yes. I just had someone on who was the only Black teacher at Sandy Hook, and her trauma from Sandy Hook was being blamed as a Black woman for the shooting. So I deal a lot with anti-racism, with oppression, I've worked with people on the podcast specifically around just feeling like no matter what I do, like my life is really great, but I just can't move forward in my business. And interestingly, I had some men on the podcast who had ancestors that were Italian witches, who had experienced persecution. Really, you name it, it's there.
You have had everyone.
Someone who's been in your lineage who's been murdered, or if you have had something very traumatic and you've tried a lot of things and it still kind of comes up in your dreams or in your nervous system, or when you go to do a launch, it might not make logical sense why these things are happening. And they oftentimes have roots that precede your physical lived life experience. And we're not gaslighting anybody. Whatever you've been through was probably as bad as you think it is, as scary or as overwhelming. And when we get to the roots of it, it can dissolve and alchemize in a way that you never knew was possible.
Hold up. Did you just say you'll get to SEO next year? There is no way I heard that coming out of your mouth. Except that's exactly what I heard in my DMs this week. And I will not stand for it. If you wait a whole year to do SEO, you're literally giving up thousands of dollars. And I have receipts. When Leah implemented a new SEO strategy, she had 10 new leads discover her on Google in just 6 weeks. When Courtney implemented SEO on her site for the first time ever, she got consistent paying clients from Google while she was out sick, not posting on social media for 3 straight months. And when Ellie finally optimized her site for SEO, she had an 85% increase in traffic to her site the very same month. When people lean into the SEO and grow method, they, grow their businesses often faster than they thought possible. You've heard me say it 1,000 times. SEO does not have to be complicated or costly or confusing. There are basic things you need to learn about and actually do, and best practices you need to follow. And I have bundled everything you need to succeed with SEO into the SEO Basics course, which you can get for $10 off when you use code podcast10. Don't overthink this. It's time you get discovered with ease. Go to BrittanyHerzberg.com and go over to the SEO shop, or you can click the link below to grab the SEO Basics course and use code podcast10 for $10 off your purchase. Yeah, some of my stuff has felt pretty instantaneous of just like unplugging from that belief or unplugging from that story or that event or that trauma or that whatever that thing was. Some of them are a little deeper and it takes a few days or weeks, but a lot of them have been just like this instant, like you're done vacuuming and you unplug the cord from the wall. It's pretty wild. And I know for me and for probably lots of people where they have tried everything. And to give a little bit more concrete of an example, in the realm of entrepreneurship, I was doing all the strategy things, all the things. So like my business is tight. My messaging is good. I'm clear on who my clients are. I'm great with my pricing. Like I'm very good with all of that stuff with my processes, but nothing is changing, but launches aren't going successfully, but clients are coming. So those types of things. You've tried so much. You've done so many things. It's really kind of hard to imagine that there is something out there that can help you or that there is someone out there who will hear you out. Because I know that was a big deal for the teacher you mentioned. Even just feeling like someone could sit and listen and not have anything, any like retort, any comment. It's just like, okay, you very obviously need to get this out. Let's let you get it out and give you space to do that. It can be hard to believe that there's a place or a person who can help you, and yet it does exist.
So you've done those things. So what has shifted since we've worked together?
I have a question for you before I get into the stuff that's changed, because it just came in my head for the third time. Do you feel like people really have to be bought in to this type of work in order for it to work, to have an effect?
No. What I would say, the things I'm looking for when someone reaches out to me is, do they have discernment? When it comes to whatever you're struggling with, you might feel like, do I have the right discernment? But other parts of your life, the people that I work with, they have like crystal clear discernment. Like they know what they like. They know what works for them. They know what doesn't work for them around like coffee or Pilates or beach versus like city. Like they know their own flavor.
Yeah.
That's usually a very clear through line, no matter what the flavor is.
Okay.
I see many different flavors of people, but they all have a foundational common ground of like, I really know what I like. And over here, the other place that they also have that's very common is they trust in the numinous. And so the numinous has many different flavors. It has many different experiences, but they know they've had some kind of interfacing with the numinous and they have an understanding of it. They don't understand it in totality. The third place is that they're willing. And so when someone comes to me, like I had someone who I've worked with in groups before, she reached out to me last week for a constellation and she wanted to have her cake and eat it too. So she is in a situation where there's a lot of violence and she lives in another country. She's back at the family home and she gave up a big opportunity professionally to go home and help the family. And so her constellation intention was, I want to fix these family members or give them peace. And then that's when I'll be at peace. So that's kind of like a double bind. We cannot use constellation work. We cannot use house therapy. We can't use anything that I do to control other people or to make our own intention conditional on the outcome of someone else.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a place where if you wrote to me or I have like a 3-session package, if you pay for that upfront and you come to me and you tell me that's your intention, I will say that I cannot work with you. I have a lot of integrity.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to believe that it's going to work. You don't have to even understand what I do fully, but those 3 components are most helpful.
Yeah. Even as you're talking, like, I can't remember how many episodes we've done together at this point, but I'm like, oh yeah, that is a through line that I see through each story, whether someone's coming on for house therapy or for constellation work or even for stone medicine. Definitely. That is cool. Okay. So the positive things that have happened. So I don't remember when we started necessarily. Maybe it was like May, June.
April.
It was April. I
Yes.
sent the message to you. You're right.
I'm curious about this.
Yeah. So, okay. With that, you always say that like as soon as someone reaches out, that's when the process begins. It's not just when you get.
Yes.
Yeah. So I reached out in April. We've now since done like, I don't know, 4 or 5 sessions, but some of them were really intense. Some of them were like super fast and easy. And you and I were like, really? That's it. But the result has been feeling a lot lighter, feeling a lot more confident, feeling even more clear than I was before, feeling like I've had better relationships. Like that's even gotten better, whether it's like my relationship with my boyfriend or friends or clients or coworkers or anything like that. Things that needed to fall away have fallen away and or are in the process of falling away. And probably the coolest thing for me has been the income. Like that's definitely like the most tactile thing has been the income because I was quote unquote doing all the right things, following the strategy. Messaging was clear, offer suite, this, that, the other thing. But nothing was happening to the degree that I knew that it could. So the last couple months have been dramatically different. I mean, I've probably tripled my income.
Which is amazing.
Yeah. And I was able to pay off a huge credit card bill that I had, thousands of dollars that I'd been carrying around for years. So even that part felt healing too. And it's almost like the sessions with you were at least part of the domino, if not the domino, the big domino. And it's been like ding, 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 ding. And I always like to give context. So I was working with you for more of like the spiritual, energetic side of things. And then I had a coach that was helping me with a little bit more of the strategic stuff too. But I've even said to her, the results that have happened wouldn't have happened just with one or the other. It really needed to happen with both.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I would say also for your listeners, because this is oftentimes common for people, that everyone wants to Google everything.
Yeah.
So
present company included.
This is the SEO situation. This is the exact context that we're in. And this is, I think, helpful for entrepreneurs in general. The specificity with which I offer my services, it's not like a generic constellation work. So everyday constellations are important. And it's kind of like the way that my business mentor, she gave me an example just yesterday. Her name is Tatiana St. Louis, and she's wonderful. She's a strategist and she's a marketer by trade. So she's like, it's kind of like matcha, Amy. She's like, Starbucks started serving this sweet matcha, and that's for some people, and that's like super fast. Get it now. And she's like, and then there's the Japanese matcha that's made with all this like artisanal care and like, you know, when the harvest was and like you're in awe of watching the process and receiving and it's this exchange. And she's like, you are the Japanese matcha of constellators and of providers. And
Yeah.
I say that humbly because it's not about my way is better. It's that my way is more potent and it is going to be bittersweet. And when you have that kind of life-changing matcha in-person Japan experience, and I was married to a Japanese man with a Japanese man for 14 years, so I can say this honestly, it is life-changing. And then it doesn't mean you don't like the Starbucks version, but you're like, oh, that's a little too sweet for me. Actually, I don't want it that way. You want it to be like this lasting, generative, compounding experience versus like, oh, okay, I've had a few good months financially. It's like, no, this is going to be now a lifelong experience.
Exactly. You said more potent experience, and I was thinking because you do a really thorough job,
Yes.
I haven't listened to any other constellators. I don't know what other constellations are like. So I shared with you, I was talking with a friend and she was like, I don't know who I should go to or if this is going to be right for me. And I'm like, oh, you don't understand. So I was like, Amy, like, how are you different than other constellators? The historical context was one big thing
Yes.
that you mentioned and that I guess I kind of took for granted to a degree because I just didn't know that other people didn't do that. So if something involves slavery, if something involves, a community being really against like a certain group of people, for example, you have had a lot of people on where either they are Jewish or they have had a past life as a Jewish person or something like that.
Yes.
Where these really intense situations that it does help to have some historical context because it's like what was happening in the community, what was happening in the world. Why did this person maybe feel that XYZ was what they needed to do? It's been fascinating.
And, it's like unworthiness is a great example because consciously and even in your heart of hearts, you know that you're worthy, but no matter what you do, you kind of come back to this hall of mirrors of like, why do I not feel worthy again? That is oftentimes an entanglement with a historical context. So genocide, sexual torture, famine, religious conflict, all of those things, or a lot of like what we call birth order, like when a baby has been omitted because of abortion or because it was stolen or because it was given away, there can be sibling conflicts. There can be confusion between like one of your parents kind of feels like a child compared to the other parent treated you and your siblings and your other parent as a child. All of those things go into business, and understanding the nuance of it with constellation work. It's not about like Googling and reading a book. It's about the actual alchemization from your heart with your ancestors. So it's not about a genogram. It's not about like understanding your family tree. Sometimes an ancestor will give a first name, but we're understanding that they are deeply connected to you. And it is like a boomerang or a rubber band of your lived experience is fulfilling their unlived destiny. So you can be entangled with an entrepreneur, like however many generations back that didn't, because of their race, because they were a woman, because of whatever factor, they could not have a successful company, even though they had a great service or a great idea or really had a lot of abilities to like create change. So our experiences of entrepreneurs are often entangled with our ancestors' unfinished business.
Yeah. One that I'm thinking of, even common theme that comes up is working hard.
Yes.
There have been so many entrepreneurs, self included, where we've gone on and it's like, we're hyper vigilant. We don't really turn off. We work to the bone. And it's like, I'm putting in all this time. I don't understand, which probably is, to your point, tied in with unworthiness.
Yeah. All those things, in my experience, there's no amount of belief work. There's no amount of nervous system work that will change it because it's not yours. You are carrying the unseen connections and lived experience of your ancestors, both blood and soul, which is past life.
It's been pretty wild. So I know I think it was the first one that I was on. Please, if you want to go listen to some of my sessions, I'm going to link the third one because it was, in my words, the gentlest. The first two were very intense. We put trigger warnings on them because they're so intense. Like you said, there's not any like judgment or shame or guilt wrapped in with that. It's just like they are very sensitive subjects on some of these client sessions that you have. And so there are warnings just to let people know.
Yes.
So there's that. But if you're going to listen, go listen to the third. And I will say that I think it was the first session I had. I could not believe how much it was like her life, my life, her life, my life. Like the commonalities were wild. It was weird.
It's uncanny.
Right? And so like with people trying to ancestors or a soul from, past life kind of experience, I feel like so many of us are familiar with this idea that in therapy, like you're playing out a cycle because the loop hasn't been closed. So it's like we seek out subconsciously these situations where we're like, oh, if we just get back in this thing, it'll play it out and it'll close the loop, and not really. And so one thing that I've recognized with your work is that, yeah, we are like almost a pawn on a game board where it's like, you're going to play out this loop. And it's like, wait, but no. And it doesn't often ever play out. So by coming to you and working with you, it's not that, I guess in a way the loop is closed, but it's really like the story doesn't have to continue playing out.
It's that the loop is alchemized.
That, yes.
I'm an art therapist by training. I'm a licensed professional counselor. Coming from a Western background, the Western background says if I have a client look at their mother and father, and maybe their grandparents, maybe their siblings, maybe their community, that will help them to come to insight to change the course of their forward movement. Whereas with constellation work, we know any kind of thing that's happening with parents or grandparents, we don't have to look far back, that there was war, there was hunger, there was famine, there was abuse, there was apartheid, there was, massive, massive, massive annihilation of human beings, the Holocaust. Like, we don't have to go far back to see we all carry that. And the confusion that happens in Western psychology is that if you understand it, if you Google it, if you listen to a podcast, it's going to change your life. Some of those things can help shift many things, but when it's an entanglement, there's no amount of information or insight. It's that the alchemy is what is a part of the way that I do constellations. So we're not just like taking the package of like, here's my shitty entrepreneur experience. Let me give that back to you. It doesn't work like that. That is one way of doing constellations, and there's nothing wrong or bad about that. That's not the way that I do constellations.
No, your way is much more powerful. Do you have anything else, any other like last minute words or insights that you want to share?
So I did pull a card for your listeners. And so it's from the Isis Oracle deck by Alana Fairchild. And Isis is one of my guides. I'm sure she's known by many of your listeners. And so this is the proper burial for freedom, sacrifice to Osiris, Lord of the Dead.
Whoa,
and so
that's why
I'll let Brittany see that. You can't see the picture listening, but it might be in the show notes, or you can Google it.
Oh, I'll find some way to put it in there.
You can't make this up. So basically, this card is about whatever energy you're carrying is carrying unresolved business of the dead.
Oh my gosh.
I'll send you the write-up of the cards.
Yeah.
But I did a little bit of work in the spheres before coming on so that anyone that listens to this in any time and space, if you're a one-time listener, or hopefully you've listened to all 100 plus episodes that Brittany has, that you can begin to be more conscious that you are carrying things that you had no idea about. And so that you can start to get release and relief and open the alchemical portal that allows you to see your ancestors and their humanity and allows you to move forward with your own free choice, your own free will, and your own destiny versus living out theirs.
Yeah. Oh, man. Okay. So I have worked with you. I did the 3 session and then we've just continued on because I'm like, this is magical. Can we please keep going? So I know that that's available for anyone listening. Is there anything else you want to share about that? Or like, tell us all the things of how people can work with you or get in your world.
Yeah. Here's the ways that people can get into my world. I am on Instagram. I go in phases with that. My newsletter is great. The ways that you can work with me are, I'm going to start from the top level.
Okay.
The Legacy Advisory is a 12-month process, and it's really like you get everything, all access to me, at least 3 sessions a month of anything that you'd like. If you've never done house therapy or feng shui, or you want to just do it my way, you get the whole house therapy process. You also have unlimited Voxer with me. And if you're in the area, I can come to your home. I live outside of Washington, D.C., but I also have clients that find me places, like I'm going to Hawaii next week with a client. So I do all kinds of things, all kinds of places. And that is my most robust package. The next layer would be a 12-month package, which is called Legacy Unfolding. And you get 2 sessions a month. You get a weekly email or a voice note support from me, which is really focused on constellation work. And then I also have like appetizer for constellation work, which is called the Alchemical Gateway. It's 3 2-hour sessions of constellation work, which is amazing. And then if you are just like, I'm really curious about house therapy, I have a 3-month house therapy container that you get 2 coaching calls a month, which are just house therapy, not constellation work. And you get a really robust report at the end. And we work on goals and intentions about, you can work with up to 9 with house therapy with me in that 3-month container. And those are my current offers. And I also have a year-long offering, and it's always being updated. It's usually 12 people. It's a mix between in-person at my home on the weekends 4 times a year and then virtual. And in 2024, it was called the Soulful Visionary Collective, and the name might be alchemizing. So I have a wait list for that in my link tree, but it's a 12-woman container. And I have a mini course. It's called Your Home, a Sacred Partner. It's a very accessible offering. It's $99. And I will be having an audit that's coming out. So it's not coaching with me, but you would send me some documents about your home. It's a feng shui audit, and it will have a fun price point with it. My newsletter is always the best way to find out about those things.
I love it. And we didn't really touch on house therapy, but I will tell you, because I wanted to bring this up.
Yeah.
We've done several different things, and some of the things you've mentioned I haven't implemented yet. But one of the things that I feel like I've felt the biggest shift, remember you mentioned, I think it was after the 3rd session, to draw like a yin yang symbol.
Yes.
If you want to find out, go listen to the episode. But if you draw that and put it in a certain spot, it can help with like moving energy and balancing things, right?
Yes.
That felt pretty immediate, which was kind of cool.
There are tchotchkes. Sometimes people need the tchotchkes, but oftentimes it's about shifting the energy that will make the massive difference.
Yeah.
And they're called splinters. Usually a home carries like 2 to 5 splinters. And once those splinters are remedied, massive change can start to happen.
Yeah. I mean, that was definitely as part of the bigger thing.
Yeah.
That was like something that we mentioned at the tail end of one of the calls. But I did want to tell you that I felt like that was a big help.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you. This has been amazing. That card couldn't have been more perfect. I'm so grateful that you're on. And if you're listening, definitely be sure to go check out Amy's podcast, because I'm not just saying that because I work on it. It's fascinating.
It will take you on a wild ride. And
Yes.
you will also benefit from it, even if you don't consciously understand what's happening.
Yeah.
It's just like energy work.
Right. And I often get chills as I'm listening to at like different parts. So I've even started like, oh, that needs to go in the show notes. Oh, that was a big thing.
Yeah. This is important. Yeah. And it could be for your ancestors. It could be for you. It could be for your home. No matter what we're doing, when I intentionally do these podcasts, it's a service so that whoever listens gets exactly what they need anytime they listen, even if they re-listen.
Yeah. It's magical. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being your amazing self and the portal that you are in this world. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, everyone. And on that somber, happy, loving note, I'll catch you next time. You've heard me talk about it, but how exactly does social proof support SEO? Well, your clients are kind of freaking brilliant, because when they share what it's like to work with you or what they were able to achieve or accomplish with your help, they use words that other people are searching for. For real, they'll say things like, I walk away with practical tips to apply SEO to my own business, or all online business owners need to know about your SEO course, or Brittany helps me understand SEO in a real and tangible way. You know what's coming next, right? I need your help to get the Basic Bee podcast reaching more of the right ear holes. When you follow, rate, review, and share the show, that helps me help more entrepreneurs discover and lean into the magic of SEO. As a little extra incentive to write a review, once a month, I'll be selecting one podcast reviewer to receive a free mini SEO audit. You'll help me get discovered, and I'll do the same for you. Check the description for more info.